fish in your possession. Now, they're very important to the marine ecosystem. Here in Bermuda, we call them the reef cleaners. And you can find them in all of your bright rainbow colors: pink, purple, blue, orange, green, yellow, all of those bright colors. We have about 5 or 6 species, and they range in size between 3 inches and 5 feet. So you can get some pretty big parrotfish. And they don't just get their name from their colors, but it's mainly because their teeth are fused together to form what looks like a beak. And they use this beak to scrape all the algae from off the coral reefs so that the algae doesn't suffocate and kill those coral reefs. While they are scraping, they do manage to break off bits and chunks of that rock and that coral. They crush it up, goes through their system, and it puffs out the other end as what? Anybody know?
Sand.
Not pink sand, but sand. I'll give it to you, all right? Not pink sand, but yeah, sand. So one average sized parrotfish is responsible for excreting up to 1,000 pounds of sand per year. And up to about a cubic ton of sand in its lifetime, which is about 5 to 7 years. So within that time, it's a lot of pooping. It's a lot of pooping going on. Yeah, yes, a lot of sand, a lot of pooping. And yeah, so I was just gonna ask. So, speaking of sand, anybody managed to get to the beach yet?
Yes.
You guys had a good time at the beach?
Yes.
Nice. Well, thank you for ringing. Fun fact for you. Well, I have the mic, so you're gonna hear it. Fun fact for you: 75% of Bermuda's beaches is parrotfish poop.
Woo!
Say that again.
Woo!
So you know what we say to that? Welcome to Bermuda. You guys have a lovely time at the beach. Tell me all about it, because guess what? You won't see me there. I'm not a beach person. I'm a boat person. I grew up on boats. The beach, the sand just gets everywhere it's not supposed to. That's my thing. You know, when I jump off on a boat and I jump in the water and go for a swim or do whatever in the boat, I get back on the boat. Guess what? I just have to take a towel and dry myself off. I don't have to worry about sand being here, there, and everywhere I don't want it to be. You know? So, but you guys have a lovely time at the beach, you know? But if I did have to go to a beach, mind you, I have to be honest, if I did have to go to a beach, I like the beaches in the east end of the island. So there's one called Tobacco Bay, there's also one called Clearwater, and also one called Turtle Bay. Those 3, awesome. Minimal people. You don't have, you know, you come on a cruise ship with 4,000 people, you're gonna see 25 to 30 to 3,000 people over that ship. You go down there, you'll see 10 people. 10 people, you know, and they'll be so far away from you, you wouldn't even know that you're actually on the beach with people. You know? No. So we do have very, very fine sand. Now, the pink sand, that actually comes from a microorganism that you'll only find on the south shore side of the island, which is why you only find the pink sand beaches on the south shore side of the island. So there's a it's called a red 4 amaranthera, and it only lives for about 3 days in a very, very bright red shell on the underside of the reef system. It's born the first day, sexually matures the second day, and reproduces and dies on the 3rd day. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Oh, pufferfish, yeah, nice. They tend to come out there then, yeah. So like I said, it's born the first day, sexually matures the second day, and reproduces and dies on the 3rd day. So it's a pretty short and hard life for that little guy, you know what I mean? But yeah, I know. But after that 3rd day, through wave action, that bright red shell is washed off of the underside of the reef system, broken up into very fine pieces, washed up onto our shoreline, and mixed with our sand. Now, if you leave anything brightly colored in the sun for a period of time, what happens to it? It fades or it bleaches. So it goes from a bright red to a faded pink. So when you get to our beaches, you're not going to see a flamingo pink beach or a fluorescent beach, or a fluorescent pink beach, all right? You're not going to see anything like that. It's going to be a white beach. So what you have to do, go right down to the water's edge, where the water is running in on the sand. You don't even really have to dig down a few inches, but you can dig down a few inches. Look at that, and you'll see a lot of those pink highlights in it. And like you said, our sand is very, very fine, so it gets broken up into very, very fine pieces and mixed with that sand. It's very fine, like sugar. Yeah, all right. So any of the south shore side of the island, any of those beaches, you're gonna find that pink sand. All right. Cool. Everybody pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move on to the shipwreck part of this tour. Now that does it for the coral reef part of the trip. I've never seen that in my life. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's actually one of my favorite fish to eat. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna let them marinate for a little bit more, you know. And when we get to the end, then I'll tell you all about it. All right? Because I want you guys to see what they're actually gonna do. All right?
Are they gonna eat the baby fish?
Shh. You didn't see it.
It's all about food chain.
It's not only that they eat that little big fish. It's something actually pretty cool that actually happens after he eats that big fish. I'm gonna see if anybody has noticed that. Once they get to it, then I'll ask that question again. No, it's not a grouper. No, groupers are much bigger than that. Much bigger. All right. Okay. Now we are just pulling up on our shipwreck. Now the shipwreck, like Sinclair said, is not going to look like the one that you left in your neighbor's fish tank. Yeah, you know that one standing upright, perfectly intact, little skeleton at the helm, little pirate flag at the back, little treasure chest off to the side, blowing bubbles. No, nothing like that. It's going to look just like the coral reef that you just finished looking at. So to distinguish the shipwreck from natural coral growth, you have to look for straight lines, perfect circles, squares, rectangles. These are going to be hatches, windows, sides, gunnels, edges of the boat. Nature doesn't grow perfectly straight or perfectly round. So once you're looking at these shapes, you are definitely looking at parts of the shipwreck itself. Now, the total length of it is about 160 feet. And it's about 35 feet in width, so we're going to have to take it in a few sections. So if you do happen to lose sight of it, Sinclair is just maneuvering our boat to give you guys a little different view of the shipwreck itself, all right? Now, all of those corals that I named off to you a little while ago, those same corals will be growing on the shipwreck, which is why you have to look for those straight lines, perfect circles, squares, rectangles. Anything that looks like twisted metal will indicate that you're looking at part of the shipwreck, all right? Okay. Now, this is the shipwreck of the HMS Vixen. This was just one of 3 British ramming vessels built way back in 1864. They built the Vixen, the Viper, and the Water Witch. Now, all 3 of these vessels, they were built out of iron and clad with 8-inch thick pieces of plank teak wood on the outside of them. Now, the top speed of the Vixen, when it was sent down to Bermuda from the Queen of England to use as a coastal defense ship, was about 8 to 10 knots. All of the enemy boats it was trying to catch, ram, sink, keep out of Bermuda's waters, they were doing at least about 12 to 14 knots. So the Vixen, it still wasn't fast enough to catch up to do any damage. So they decided to add one more engine, a few masts and sails, trying to speed it up, but that only increased the weight of the boat and not the speed to their liking. So they were forced to discontinue it as a coastal defense ship. They then transported it up into dockyard where your cruise ship is, and they used it for a floating dormitory for Irish convict laborers that were building dockyard at that present time. Now one night, they purposely set the boat afire, and over 300 convicts that were on board, unfortunately, did perish in that fire. Now the boat itself, totally destroyed, so they couldn't use it for anything else. But they came up with one last brilliant plan. They decided to bring it out to the West Shipping Channel, sink it in the middle, block the channel and stop all the enemy boats from sneaking into this side of the island and launching attacks. Brilliant plan. The execution? Not so brilliant. The person that they left in charge of the dynamite, I believe they had a few more drinks the night before at the bar, than they should have had. They packed all the dynamite they could find smack dab in the middle and blew a 30-foot gap in the middle of this vessel. So the stern section, it blew one way and sunk completely. The bow section, however, blew the opposite direction and nicely rested itself on top of a natural coral reef that was already there. So that's the only reason you can actually still see part of the bow sticking out of the water to this day. So once the enemy boats headed towards the channel, they spotted that bow sticking out of the water, thinking the channel is blocked and they can no longer pass through. Once they got closer, they were able to spot that 30-foot gap in width that the dynamite created and steam right on through. Now this is the little shipping channel, so the depth here is probably about 30 to 40 feet. And that's pretty much all that those boats back then needed to pass right on through. So they deemed the Vixen Bermuda's biggest failure. It failed as a coastal defense ship, floating dormitory, as well as a channel blocker. But, in my opinion, not entirely true. It does make for a pretty cool glass bottom tour. Anybody agree with me?
Yes.
Nice. Now they've realized that if you introduce iron into a flourishing reef system or into warm, shallow waters, it can boost the coral growth rate by about 3 to 5 times faster. So if you take a look on the Vixen, you're probably going to see a few brain corals that are definitely definitely double the size of a soccer ball. No, remember they take between 150 to 250 years to grow to that size on a natural rock. Well, the Vixen was sunk here in 1896, so it's been here 128 years, which is about 32 years less than what the brain corals need to get to that size on a natural rock. Yeah, so they're doing this in a lot of different places all over the world, sinking old airplanes, train cars, battleships, old iron objects into warm, shallow waters, trying to get them to continue to grow and to replenish. There are places such as the Great Barrier Reef in Australia and Jamaica in the Caribbean who've lost about 75 up to 96% of their reef system in the last 150 years. Now Bermuda, we're doing excellent. We've only lost about 11 to 15% of ours in the last 200 years. So we're doing very, very good. They've even transplanted some of our corals into other places, trying to get them to thrive and grow. The coral reef systems, very important to the ocean. They provide the ocean with 2/3 of its oxygen. So if you take the coral reef systems out of the ocean, you're taking everything with it. It's just going to be one vast body of water with absolutely nothing living in it. Now the ocean itself is very important to us and to the earth because it provides all of us with 50% of the oxygen that we breathe every day. So the oxygen that all of us are breathing at this present time, believe it or not, 50% of that is coming from the ocean that we're on. Yeah, and the coral reefs provide the ocean with 2/3 of its oxygen. So we definitely have to conserve the coral reefs and the ocean because they're both a lot more important to us and survival than we really think. Yeah. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Bermuda is very protective of our marine life, so there's no fishing within a certain distance of all of our shipwrecks. And we have 300 plus shipwrecks that circumnavigate our little island, which is why we are named the shipwreck capital of the Atlantic. So all of the offshore shipwrecks, no fishing within 300 meters distance from any direction of the shipwrecks. This is the only inshore shipwreck, so there's no fishing within 100 meters of this shipwreck from any direction. But any of these shipwrecks that you visit, you will find an abundance of fish as well as an abundance of very, very healthy coral growth because of that. Now, speaking of fish, you guys still seeing those fish?
Yeah.
All right, so that is the gray snapper or the mangrove snapper. Now, normally during the daytime, you have about 4 or 5 different types of fish that you'll see swimming around the wreck. Because it's nighttime, you're only going to see one, and that is the gray snapper or the mangrove snapper. They're very nocturnal. They're also a relative to the red snapper that most of you are probably a little bit more familiar with. The red snapper, that's a deeper water version. Gray snapper, this is a shallow water version, but also very good eating. Like I said, very tasty fish, one of my favorites to eat. Now, as you can see, they appear to be a very light brown, grayish in color, shaped just like a torpedo, and they may have a black stripe going across both of their eyes. Now, you don't see that black stripe unless they're feeding or when they're feeling very, very aggressive. And they also use that black stripe for a line of sight. So 9 times out of 10, when they line a fish with that stripe, they're going to catch that fish. Now, question is, has anybody seen them eat any of these little bait fish?
Yeah.
Yes, you have. Next question. Has anybody seen anything come from that snapper after he's eaten that little bait fish?
No.
Nobody has seen anything?
No.
Not No, it's not poop. No. Has anybody seen anything in the water that looks like glitter or sparkles? Glitter. She said glitter. So I called it a glitter fest. So do you really want to know what that is?
Yes.
Have you guys been on my tour before? Okay. I was gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, really. I was definitely gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, because we do get returns, But yes, it is. She is absolutely right. So the snapper his gills are actually equipped with something. In between him eating and swallowing that bait fish, he's able to strip the scales off, blow them out through his gills, and then swallow the rest. Yeah, so he's got his own little scaling machine up inside of his gills, and it's pretty cool because I'm like, grills are in lime, and they would give it that one out, Yeah, he's good. Yeah, pretty much. He's getting his own sushi, Yeah. During the daytime, I feed them goldfish, and everybody tells me that's cannibalism. And I'm like, not really, because when I'm not feeding, look what they're doing. They're eating fish anyway. You know, they're eating fish. You know, it's what I like to call the circle of life. Yeah. So they actually get attracted to our lights because the lights actually highlight the microorganisms in the water for the little big fish. So they get attracted to our lights. So they're like, hey man, it's a buffet night.
Exactly.
Yeah, because most times they have to feed in the dark. So once we flick our lights on, they're like, hey man, it's buffet night. So they come right up to the light, they feed very freely, but little do they know the light is also highlighted in for the snappers. And the snappers also come up to the light then, or they're a little deeper rubbing their fins together saying, yeah, it's buffet night for us too. You know, so they come right up to the light, they feed on that little bait fish. So like I said, it's what I like to call the circle of life. Anybody have any questions? No, everybody pretty good? Yeah? All right. Okay, so the best vantage point for you guys, the best vantage point for taking pictures of the bar, the shipwreck, is from back up top in your seats. Now, before you head up top, once you do get up top, Sinclair is going to do a few laps around the bar of the shipwreck. He's going to put it on both sides of our boat, so you guys don't have to sprint from one side of the boat to the other to try and get a picture. Once you do get up top and get seated, just wait until the shipwreck is on your side, and you can feel free to snap as many pictures and videos as you want. All right. Now, also, he will let you know when the bar is officially open, so stay tuned for that. All right. Well, this ends my segment of the tour, everyone. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your tour and your night and your stay in Bermuda, and everybody have a safe journey when you guys finally do leave the island. Thank you very much for listening, everyone, and everyone have a beautiful night. You're welcome. Thank you very much, sir.